Last week, nobody was able to capitalize on the setback of GTP Championship leader Tim Reed as the drivers navigated the twisty moss sport. This week, it's a different kettle of fish as the drivers head to the iconic Watkins Glen as the drivers start to approach the final month of the season. So who will be able to tame the dreaded S's this week? We will find out soon as we get ready to watch round 8 of the Camel GT series, and you will see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hello everyone, I am Craig King, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren, and behind the scenes is our director Ryan Bauer, and he is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. A track made historic for multiple racing series, but known for one race, the 6 Hours of the Glen. Let's step in with a closer look to find out more about this well-respected track.
Welcome to Watkins Glen International. Situated in upstate New York, just south of the Finger Lakes, this track has seen it all. Few road circuits can boast hosting Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR, and IMSA during its history. Though it did have a brief fallow period in the early 80s, thanks to the investment of local companies, it's grown into one of the premier road tracks in the U.S. With 4 layouts to choose from that range between 2.5 and 3.5 miles in length, lap times can vary greatly. But it also means it's suitable for lots of different levels of racing, from amateur to pro. The one thing that stays consistent no matter which car and which layout you're using is that Watkins Glen means speed. Many of the straights are very long, and the majority of the corners are fast sweepers. Some of them include a surprising amount of banking as well. Combine that with the proximity of the barriers, and this historic circuit retains a very old-school feel. Drivers in lesser-powered cars can expect drafting battles, while higher-powered machinery will test the skill and bravery of their pilots. Some of the turns are visually iconic, such as the carousel and the S's. Others, like the inner loop, the chute, and turn 9, greatly challenge even the expertly skilled. And of course, we haven't even mentioned the drastic amount of elevation change drivers experience. Between its rich history and popularity among drivers, this track stays busy and seems likely to be that way for a long, long time.
Well, that video showed us some of the modern-day GTPs, but we are using the old classic GTPs. It's a cold morning here at Watkins Glen. Adam, what are we expecting to see around here today?
Well, we're expecting to see a lot of chaos and a lot of consternation with these cars. A full split of 38 drivers per split today around this 11-turn, 3.4 mile or 5.47 kilometer circuit. The GTPs are going to feel the most at home here with many sweeping turns to allow the downforce to enact. But that being said, the boot can be very slippery, especially on exit of the corners due to the changes in elevation. The GTOs also feel fairly comfortable here, but the S's tend to be a real challenge for the drivers as they begin their first lap. Also, the final 2 sectors become a real challenge. The final 2 corners, rather, become a real challenge for the drivers in the GTOs as they try and accelerate out of the corners without getting too wide due to understeer. Multiclass here can be fairly chaotic with a 20-mile-an-hour speed difference through the S's, where a lot of traffic tends to be a real problem for these drivers. That being said, honestly, Craig, I think that this is going to be one of the most exciting races of the season.
Yeah, this could be one of the most exciting races of the season. The GTP strength of field today is 4,279. And these drivers in the top 10, that most of them are here today. Timothy Reed still leads, but only by 31 points. That lead could go pretty quickly. Look at that gap between Youngblood and Humphrey, though. Just a couple points between the two of them. And do not count out Sintes Galindo. In early races this week, he did not have the best of luck, but anything can still happen. Just at the bottom there, Gabbiani, Sanchez, and Bello still holding on to that top 10. Very close at the top, very close in the midfield of the top 10. What about those GTOs?
GTOs is a very similar story with Javier Delmo holding a 32-point lead over Vaughn. That's another 25 points back to Tim Kennedy. Now Arturas Kundelis and Theo Schleret rounding out the top 5. Of those top 5, only Timothy Vaughn and Tim Kennedy do not have wins. Del Omo, Arturas Kundelis, and Theo Schleret have all won this season. Jamie Hamill-Smith, Mickey Friesen, and Robert Plum, as well as David Lehman and Doug Cloud, all in a very tight fight for that, realistically for 4th position. It's only going to be 7 points separating 4th to 10th right now in the GTOs.
Just look how close that is. By the way, if anyone starts saying, well, Timothy Vaughan has won before on broadcast, yes, in a GTP, not in a GTO. So let's just look at what we're dealing with today. It is a 40-minute race, and they do have their own setups, and there is no spare car, and that is going to be quite interesting with the amount of chaos multi-class can bring at Watkins Glen. Of course, the drive-through penalty at 17x, that disqualification at 25. You don't think you'll catch up to it, Adam, but the off-tracks at turn 1 and the final corner can catch you up quite easily here.
It happens very easily, especially considering the fact that we're likely going to have some 4Xs from some incidents around here due to car-on-car contact as well. Though, as you can see, very early in the morning, very dark out there. It is 6:17 virtual standard time for these drivers as they're setting their qualifying laps right now. Nobody has a time in, but Timothy Reed's going to be the first.
Yeah, Timothy Reed's going to be the first. It looks very dark out there, but the sun is rising. It is 18 Celsius, 64 Fahrenheit. I've never seen Watkins Glen this cold in my life. And we know that usually when it's warm out here, it eats the tires up. The track just is abrasive. It will eat the tires full stop. But the temperatures here today will really help them just preserve those tires in this sprint race as Timothy Reed comes down to the hill. And this, to me, this turn 9, turn 10, this is a danger spot for traffic, because one incident here could just cause the whole roadblock.
Absolutely, because it's a blind corner coming around that left side, it could be a real challenge for those drivers to, the upcoming drivers to see that there's an incident. So that's why you rely on your virtual spotter to tell you whether there's an incident coming up ahead. As you can see, the times coming in, Xavier Sanchez currently holds provisional pole position. Timothy Reed crosses the line at 126.26. Not good enough for Tim Reed, down in 7th right now.
Yeah, down in 7th. We'll have to see how that goes. Jamie Hamill-Smith here. The goggly eyes, the googly eyes, they are back. And we've got a foot cam as well. And to be honest, that's not racing shoes per se, but you make do with what you've got. Around the final corner he comes, and Hamill-Smith is going to be setting one of the first times out there in the GTOs. He comes by, and it is going to just put him into, well, it's down to P4 now. Theo Chalet, we haven't talked a lot about him. He is currently pole at the moment, just an up-and-comer in the series who has managed to get a couple good results this season.
Yeah, Theo's been able to take a couple of wins away from some of the drivers this season. A really good qualifier, and has a decent race pace as well. But Theo has been pipped by Timothy Vaughn, who, as we said, has yet to win a race, but currently on provisional pole. Theo diving in to the carousel corner. It is going to not feel as tight as the old NASCAR layout, but Theo able to wind his way down the hill into the boot now.
Yeah, and that corner as well, especially being that it's a high speed, because there'll be no chicane here today. It just means a lot of braking for the GTOs. Ian Haycock's out there as well with his foot cam as well, for those always wondering. It's after his unfortunate accident last year. Just driving with one foot, and it's controlling the brakes and the clutch. It is using some throttle on the steering wheel, and it just goes to show that anyone can do anything, and he even gets time to use a shifter.
Yeah, absolutely. He does have time to use the shifter, as well as he's been in the top 5 most of this season. Very competitive in that GTO, competing against very high strengths of fields in splits like these. I mean, honestly, it goes to show you that no matter what sort of issues you're dealing with, you can be fast on track here in iRacing.
Can be fast. We've got 2 minutes 30 left as well. Somebody else on the cameras today, Ben Laughter as well, currently sitting P18 at the moment, but it just goes to show how strong it is. The strength of field for the GTOs, I mentioned the GTPs, 3-1-0-5. It's still a competitive split. The GTOs pretty much spread out more compared to the GTPs when it comes to that, but he is starting to show his way. Ben Laughter's coming around the final corner. Timothy Vaughan's just set his final lap. It is not going to be fast enough to beat Theo by quite a bit, but Ben looking to try and get out of this P18. Will he be able to get it going? He will cross the line. It is faster, and it is faster. Puts him up to P12.
Absolutely, a good qualifying time for him. I wonder whether Ben takes his wife out for drives in that side seat there. Ove Trangrade coming around in 4th position on his second lap, so good qualifying for him. Just taking a look to see whether or not anyone else is going to have time to set a lap. Martin Krajcik out there trying to set his second lap time, currently down in 12th with a 126.1. See whether he can improve. Fastest time is a 125.1 from Alex. Ought to be a second to gain. He's not going to make that much time, but he's going to make a little bit. He doesn't change positions, but up to 12th position still.
Yeah, it was actually an invalid lap there, so he must have taken an off track, which looks to me like everybody has completed their times out there. So let's just give you the grid, and we'll start with the GTPs. And Alex Ott will be on pole position with Javier Sanchez beside him in P2. Arturas Candelas will be in 3rd, with Wayne Castile coming in 4th. Aitor Sintes Galindo will take 5th, and Laus Olsen will be in 6th. And then it's Jack Spickett 7th. Timothy Reed will take 8th. That's an interesting one for Timothy. Pepe Fuentes will be 9th, and Mateus Hadval will take 10th for the first page. And we get to the second page, Brendan Lim will be 11th, and Martin Krajcik will take 12th. That unlucky 13th is Aaron Humphrey, with Jack Wells in 14th, and then it's Alex Millwood in 15th. Hamilton Barrett Ruiz in 16th, Javier Mosquera in 17th, Fabian Youngblood, the last of those qualifiers, in 18th, and then we've got 3 drivers who did not set a time. It is Sebastian Samedown, Alexander van der Stant, and Jason Clapper, and it'll be Sebastian, Alex, and Jason in that order due to iRacing. What about those GTOs?
And then we have the GTOs with Theo Schleret on pole. Timothy Vaughn lining up next to him at just about 4/10 off. A very fast lap for Theo Schleret. Javier Del Olmo in 3rd position. Ove Trangrade in 4th. Michael Jenkins going to start off row 3 with Ian Haycox in 6th position next to him. Row 4 is going to be Sergey Grabun, a new driver for the broadcast series, coming in here with Doug Cloud in 8th position. David B. Lehman and Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado going to round out your top 10. Then it's going to be Tim Kennedy in 11th position with Robert Plumley next to him in 12th. Ben Laughter in 13th spot with Zoltan Demme in 14th. Cam Porter lining up on row 8 next to Jamie Hamill-Smith, both of them not having great qualifying today. Tomas Sibus going to line up on row 9 next to Pablo Rangel, and Mika Tupola is the last driver to set a qualifying time in the GTOs. After Mika Tupola came Diego Asensos, who is our final driver. 20 GTOs today, 21 at GTPs for 41 drivers on track.
41 drivers on track, and there is those temperatures we were talking about. 63 Fahrenheit, 17 Celsius is the air temp, but that track temp about the same. It's 64 Fahrenheit and 18 Celsius. That wind's not going to play a factor, but that humidity is going to be a little bit to play out for. But one thing I have to stress about this for the GTPs is going to be a fuel saving race. They are looking at doing 28 laps. This tank, Adam, can only do 27.
Yeah, absolutely. So 24 laps for the GTOs, maybe 25. As you said, 28 laps for the GTPs. They're going to have to fuel save an entire lap of fuel. So it's going to feel a little bit like an IndyCar race, I have a feeling, for these GTPs out there. The GTOs will probably be going flat out. They can easily do a full hour on their tanks if they do fuel saving themselves. So this 40-minute race should not be too much of a challenge for them to get through. So that's going to make the multi-class very interesting, Craig, because the GTPs might actually benefit from being held up a little bit by the GTOs. So the GTOs might see a varying strategy from the GTPs. Some GTPs may be super aggressive. Some of the GTPs may actually bide their time a little bit more. And that can actually cause a little bit more confusion or lack of communication, which could actually lead to more incidents.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because the community has been talking about this after the first hot split they did earlier this week, and some of the drivers here today did take part in that. For example, there's Cam Porter, as we just see him just patiently waiting. I mean, that looks like me just waiting at the moment. Just take your time and just wait. But Alex Ott did lead them out on a Wednesday night, and unfortunately did not win the race due to having to take fuel on a pit stop. Half the top 10 had to take fuel. So I'm wondering, with some of these drivers not in races this week, how many of them are going to be aware that in that GTP field, it's going to be a fuel save?
Well, believe it or not, some of the drivers have actually let them know. Brendan Lim and Javier Mascara both mentioning fuel saving. Javier Mascara saying he turned off the car on the grid to try and save a little bit of fuel. So absolutely some drivers mentioning that in the GTP field. Hi to Mick Claridge, who's joined us for this race. Definitely think about that benefit race we have going on next week for Mick. So absolutely some great faces that we're seeing out here in the series racing today, and good to see Mick as well.
Yeah, good to see Mick. More information on that if you can, you know, Mick can direct you the way, or you can check out the information that it has been promoted on our GSRC Discord, as well as the cars come around the outer loop down to the chute. We talk about the multi-class around here as we start getting to get ready. One of the things that scares me when it comes to multi-class here is the speed difference we've already talked about, but it's the speed under braking. And it's a similar thing to IMSA with the modern day GT3s and the modern day GTPs. When you brake in a prototype, you're carrying more speed. So you hear the people saying, they're dive bombing me, they're dive bombing me. No, these are the paces the GTPs have to go to get around the corner, and it can cause havoc. And that chute we just went by there, that is a corner that usually catches a lot of drivers out.
Yeah, the GTPs have to be considered the fact that the GTOs are unable to make any sort of maneuvers when under braking or under load in the corners. The GTOs have to be considerate of the fact that once the GTP commits to that braking, that late braking for the corner, that means that they're committed and they can't go anywhere either. And sometimes both classes just have no options and they're just headed for a crash. And what's funny is that quarter of a second, that half of a second that you're both headed for that crash and you both know it's coming, sometimes there's nothing you can do and it seems like it lasts forever.
Well, this race is not going to last forever. It's going to last 40 minutes or just a little bit over as well. GTPs are coming around to turn 11, the final corner. The pace car will get to go in. Barney's got his green flag ready. Alex Stott will control the pace and he bunches them up a little bit, and he's going to try and catch Javier around, and he does indeed. Candelas will try and make this move straight away. The green flag officially comes down for 40 minutes. It looked a little bit free wide in the middle there, but everybody gets by through. Candelas goes straight away into P2. He is gone as well as Javier Sanchez in a little battle himself. What are the GTOs like?
Yeah, it's fairly clean up at the front of the GTOs. Theo Schloy and Timothy Vaughn got off to a good start, but Timothy Vaughn thought about going to the inside of Schloy, couldn't do so. The GTOs very clean through turn one, very conservative. Everyone's going to take this race a little bit more conservative because they know that this long straightaway up to the carousel, this has no kink in it this time around, no bus stop chicane. So this is going to be a great opportunity to try and get some side-by-side passes done for the GTOs.
Let's see who's going to make the most of it as we go to the GTPs. They've navigated it right away, and you start to see that field. Look at them all just clumped together. They're clumped together. Javier Sanchez trying to fight on. That's a fantastic camera, and off we go again. Everybody just battling. They're keeping it single file at the moment. Alex has managed to extend that lead pretty fast. It looks like he's not going for that fuel save at the moment. He is the driver that looks like he wants just to hold on. And you start to see the drivers just keep on fighting. Single file at the moment. They're waiting for the right opportunity.
GTPs are still pretty compressed together, while the GTOs actually are have a little bit of a break actually going on. David B. Lehman has fallen back. He's back 1 second from Sergio Grubin from 8th to 9th in the GTOs. So there's a little bit of a gap there between the GTOs and the GTO leaders and the GTO backpack, whereas the GTPs all pretty much stuck together with the exception of Alex Ott, who's out to 2 seconds after the first lap is complete.
Yeah, we're with the GTOs right now, and to be fair, there's been only 2 overtakes in the top 10. Dobbs made up a position over Grabham, and Tim Kennedy made up a position over Salgado there. You start to see Ian Haycock. You can see what he sees with the window licker camera there as he just waits the time. He's got a little bit of a gap here, and you start to think that could play havoc there, but it's 4/10. It doesn't look it. It's 3 to 4/10. That's all going to go when they go for this, because no driver at the moment wants to pull out and make a move on this long backstraight.
And the sun looks beautiful to us, you know, watching these cameras and these onboard shots, but my goodness, that's a real challenge turning into turn one and having that sun in your eyes, especially if there's an incident in turn one. You might not be able to see it with that sun going on. But what's interesting to me, Craig, is that we got Alex out there to 2.5 seconds. It doesn't seem like he's fuel saving right now.
No, I want to be keeping my eyes on his lap time compared to everybody else. But look at this battle for second. Candelas Sanchez, hang on 1 second. Castile just almost got into the back there. Managed to hold it, keeps on the graft. Everybody get around him. That could have been very scary. That's the corner we put our finger on that was going to be an issue there. And he is now down to P9 with that one mistake. I think he just went a bit too hot there into turn 9.
He did, but he actually got tucked underneath the rear bumper of, I believe it was HR Sanchez Galindo or Zapier Sanchez, but that was really scary stuff for Wayne. I can't believe he actually kept it out of the wall there. That was really impressive.
I was looking at that on the grass, and the moment you see someone get on the grass there, you start to worry, because one wrong move and you are spinning around. We get back on board with Ovi Trengere, these four still coming by themselves. It's going to be interesting. We've gone 2 laps here, and I wouldn't be surprised if next lap we start to see the multi-class start to work, because that's going to be where everything gets spread out even more with these GTPs. Absolutely.
The multi-class, I believe, is going to be probably 2 laps from now. I'd expect them to start making passes through the boot. Is where I expect the GTPs to catch the GTOs. So this will be very interesting to see here as we're riding on board with Theo Schlery, looking out to the back towards Timothy Vaughn. Vaughn just doing a good job of keeping tabs with Schlery. Honestly, Vaughn's is in a pretty good championship position, but he's hoping that Javier Del Olmo behind him has a little bit more trouble. Del Olmo just needs to have clean races for the rest of the season, and he'll secure this championship. So he doesn't want to do any sort of intense battling in order to secure his championship. You can see just how bumpy it is on the exit of that bus stop, where the bus stop rejoins with the inner part of the bus stop chicane. So great move for him to try and get that braking done on that part. The GTOs don't have a lot of downforce to help them out there, so you really have to be careful on that braking to not lock up the tires.
Yeah, especially as well in the GTPs, we know how much they bounce as well. We're talking about the GTPs. Here is Timothy Reed sitting in P5, and he has Aitor Sintes Galindo, that iconic orange wing there with the blue there. Can he make a move here? I don't think he's close enough. Sintes Galindo as well, just getting his own moves behind them. There is Castile and Olsen battling, and almost coming in there with the late braking. It's going to be tough trying to find the right positions where to brake in these GTPs, especially with the speed they're getting. And now Castile on the greatest camera there is. Through the keyhole we go, Adam.
Absolutely, my favorite camera, absolutely. The 007 cam, we like to call it, as we dive down through the keyhole, through the toe of the boot, back towards the heel of the boot now, looking back at Laust Olsen. And Castile got shoulder checked by Laust through the carousel last lap. This lap, a clean overtake through the carousel, but still a little scruffy there for Wayne as he goes off into the runoff in the heel of the boot there. And we had a spin, I believe it's Hamilton Barrera Ruiz, who went around in the background as they're all battling for 18th through 21st in the GTPs by themselves. Looking at Javier Del Olmo now as he's trying to chase down Timothy Vaughn.
He's trying to chase down Timothy Vaughn, and you can see Timothy Vaughn realizes there's a possibility he could be losing out here, so he breaks the toe in front of him to basically just try and keep defensive, and you start to see hugging that curb as much as he can. Vaughn just trying to be safe here. But I mean, they do want to be racing for victories here, but at the end of the day, they have to think about that championship. But we're all here for one reason, and that is to have fun. Look at them weaving. Look at the different lines they're going. It is so brilliant to see such a close battle in the GTOs, as it usually is. It wouldn't be Camel without the GTOs like this.
Absolutely. We got three top five drivers in the top 5 of this race right now, with Owe Trangrade down in 15th and Michael Janke down a little bit farther than that, actually. So very interesting to see Michael up there. He's having a really good race himself in that number 35 machine, tucked in there about a second back of this top 5 group, kind of in his own little gap between those cars. But Michael doing a good job. He started in that position, in 5th position, and has been holding it against good drivers like Ian Haycox and Doug Cloud.
Yeah, Michael came to the Camel Series a few weeks ago, and I know a lot of people were like, who's this Michael guy? And he is really showing his worth out there. As you start to see, the GTPs have started their charge, and already Alex has put almost a 6-second lead on everybody. This is what we were waiting for, because one wrong move can cause issues here. Reed and Sintes Galindo go side by side.
Oh, right
Reed
behind.
will hold on to that, and the wreck behind. Handball goes around, and so do others.
Wayne Castile and Matthias Hovdal. Castile took a very late dive into the first corner on Hovdal, and I think that's what caused the incident. We're gonna have to take a look at this. I might have had the drivers turned around here, but here we come. You can see all the chaos because of the traffic, and I think Wayne Castile is going to be the one who takes a little bit of an opportunity here. Yeah, here he comes, diving down the inside, very late on the brakes, and just piles into Hovdal.
Not what you want to see, and unfortunately that is one of the things. You try to take an aggressive overtake there, and it can do that. That is something that we see a lot, and so we see this. It's 2x2 down here at the moment. We've got a car off. It is David Lehman. He has gone off there. I believe that was contact with one of the GTPs, and it is not very... Was it GTP or a GTO?
It was a GTO. Tim Kennedy ushered him off with very unceremoniously, so unfortunately Lehman falling back now.
And Lehman falling back, and now this is Van der Sant. You start to see his view at the moment on that cockpit, and he sees cars of his own class in front. He's trying to make his way by, and he realizes, let's play the percentage game. Can I make this move here into turn 9? No, I'm going to try around the outside. He was not ready for that. Has to go around the outside, manages to get by. This is the nature, and you see more cars getting held up there by a car having to take turn 11 the normal way. This is what traffic delivers at Watkins Glen.
Welcome to Camel Series. This chaos on the front stretch is exactly what we're talking about when we talk about the chaos of multiclass here in Camel. People trying to take opportunistic moves. It's only a 40-minute race. Talk about a sprint. It's shorter than any IMSA round that we have right now in the IMSA series. So all these drivers very desperate to make as many positions as possible with any opportunity provided to them.
And I tell you what, it's quite interesting. I've got my eyes on Lars Olsen. There he is, just up ahead there, that yellow and blue car. He managed to make a very good run, as did Javier Mosquera, but he's about to make a pick move on himself. He's going to be held up by GTP, and Javier Mosquera goes right by to the outside. Look at the side, he goes free wide around Ben Laughter, and Javier Mosquera makes that move. Robert Plumley's just there. We talk about the pocket cam sometimes. I've never seen this mouth so open before.
Absolutely. So Lars Olsen breathing a little hard right now. Look at that. Javier Mosquera look to the outside there of Tim Kennedy. Tim Kennedy drifted over to the outside, so that forced Mosquera to take to the inside. Lars Olsen follows him through, and as we head up the hill, that's Martin Krejcik gets cut off a little bit by Sergey Gravin, who's really struggling to try and navigate this traffic. Javier Mosquera with a good run on Krejcik. Krejcik takes a late break, and they're all going to dive to the inside of Doug Cloud and Sergey, as Sergey and Doug are battling for 7th position in the GTOs. All these guys battling for 14th through 16th in the GTPs.
It is absolutely chaotic. Brendan Lynn as well. He's lost a few positions. He's up ahead of these guys as well. More drivers trying to work out if they can make a move. Mosquera almost taking in. Haycock's out there at turn 9 on board with Doug Cloud, because we talk about how traffic affects the GTP. It also affects the GTOs, because Doug Cloud here getting a little bit held up by the traffic just coming to make moves. He's put himself out of that battle for P6. He's in a big battle right now for P7 with Gravin and Kennedy right behind him.
Yeah, Doug lost 2
a spinner,
seconds.
sorry.
Yeah, spinner up in front. That's Wayne Castile again? No, it's Michael Yankee who went around this time around.
No, it is Castile. It is Castile, and I believe that was a very late, ambitious move there by Castile.
Castile doing the same thing again, but this time with a GTO. Castile and Janky. Castile gets into the back of Janky, and Janky's taking a tow now, unfortunately. Castile's out of the race.
Adam, we've got Theo Cheray in the wall. He's got massive damage. He's had an accident up the S's. Theo Cheray's had a massive moment up the S's. He is down in P9. He was the leader. Let's just keep a watch of this. And I believe he got a little bit. Look at Wayne Castile first. This is Castile trying to make this move. Again, it's trying to make an overtake. And just there, the car's already turning in, and he just flicked back out in, just avoided, and he managed to tow right away. And this is Theo just at the end. And might be able to just get to the start of this. There, here's the start of this. Now, this is the issue with multi-car traffic going up the S's. He's got a GTP just there. He hit the brakes, and he gets tapped from behind just because of that hesitation moment, loses control, and he just comes out on track. How he hit nobody, I'll never know.
Well, I mean, these drivers fairly used to seeing this kind of chaos, so everyone able to avoid it. But Timothy Vaughn, yeah, you can see Theo Schleret did not turn in on time, and these Audis have a ton of understeer, so he hits the brakes to try and make the turn for the S's. Timothy Vaughn not expecting any braking there, maybe a lift, but not hitting the brakes, and that sends him off. I can report that Ian Haycock's right now off track through the penultimate corner. He's able to get himself back on track. Here's Ove Trangarade as he tries to cut his way through what happened with Theo. Look at this moment here. Oh my goodness.
Well, that is called threading the needle if I've ever seen it. That was very tight. But I'll tell you what this has done. All this chaos had bunched up the GTOs from 4th down to 10th.
I mean,
but this is the GTPs at the moment, as we're seeing the Timothy Reed trying to make their way through.
Yeah, this is the same thing has happened with the GTPs with the exception of Alex Ott, who's out to a 12.5-second lead over Heitor Sanchez Galindo. But remember, this is a fuel-saving race. Alex is going absolutely balls to the walls. I think he's trying to get a full pit stop over the rest of the GTPs, but that would be like 40 seconds, and we have had another wreck of the GTOs. Sergey Grabin and Tim Kennedy are around.
Yeah, Kennedy did not realize the line was closing there and accidentally goes in to grab him. That is the nature, really. You've got to be careful on the braking. We talked about it. Now watch this. This is Kennedy. He's going to see the lines in front. Now, Grabin is going to start braking any moment there. He has to start turning in. Maybe Grabin turned a little bit too early there, but just a little bit of unawareness there by both drivers, I feel.
Yeah, I think Grabin probably didn't look into his rearview mirror, was just getting back in line with the GTOs, and unfortunately just didn't see the opportunity closing there. But here's Tim Reed trying to make a move on Heitor Sanchez Galindo for second. They're side by side. There is no bus stop chicane. These guys are going to go side by side into the carousel and punching a huge hole in the air for Xavier Sanchez.
Javier Sanchez is going to be watching this, and so is his stream going to be watching this, as that Timothy Reed get past Sanchez Galindo with no problem, and this does allow Sanchez to start looking. I'm keeping my eyes on what Alex Ott is doing, because I don't think he's got a big enough gap to pit and keep the lead. But if everybody else is fuel saving and he goes hell-bent for leather, maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to take fuel, come back out, and go full throttle where the other drivers will be unable to. That is the gap at the moment. It's just under 13 seconds.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, it's a huge risk. I know he's got a huge lead, but if he does need to pit for fuel, that's going to be well over 30 seconds in the lane here at Watkins Glen. It's such a slow exit to the pit lane as well, but some nice battling going on here. Ian Haycock's trying to make a move on Doug Cloud around the outside, but these GTOs, no downforce to play with. I know they have a wing on the back of there, but that just keeps the rear tires attached to the ground. Doesn't help you turn in.
That wing is just for aesthetics only. There's not a lot that can do at the moment. It's old school technology, but it does its job, and he's unable to make that move. I thought he was going to try and do an over-under there for a moment, and let's just see the different lines. This toe, you take so many different lines around here, but Doug Cloud, all of a sudden, he is in such a good place. Some people would call him the cork in the wine bottle right now. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Doug is very strong, and the people he's battling with the exception of Theo Schleret, who's got a damaged race car back there, 4 cars back with the the two-face paint scheme back there. Honestly, these are his peers, his compatriots, the people he battles with week on week. He has an opportunity for a podium this race, and I think a real one, so long as Theo Schleret's damage continues to keep him mired in this pack.
It'll be interesting to see Theo's there. Behind him is Timothy Vaughn, who's at the back of this train as well. Quite interesting as well. You look at the positions gained on the track for the GTO. Robert Plumley, 7 positions made up. Ben Laughter, we were talking about at the start earlier on, he's made up 6 positions himself. The biggest losers? Theo Schleret lost 5. Timothy Vaughn's lost 6. They were basically our top 2 drivers.
Yeah, but that contact that was made, that's real trouble. Here's Arturas Kundelis doing a great job driving in the GTP this week. So Arturas making the jump over. A lot of the drivers in this series will do this. They'll race one car for a whole season or a partial season until they start to feel like they're burning out, then they'll jump into the other. And here we see Arturas Kundelis jumping into the GTP and being very competitive up there in the 5th position, challenging the fast Xavier Sanchez right now for the 4th spot.
Yeah, Javier Sanchez in front of him. They're going to have to be careful because they're almost up to that big group of GTOs we were talking about that is still going and battling. Those guys are just coming down to the toe. These guys are just a few cars away from them. Alex Zott's about to hit this traffic as well, but these guys still battling. If you're Arturus, you're going to have to wait for your opportunity. There is Alex coming past the back of that train. Here's the main part of that train. It's going to take a while. He may start to lose some time here.
Alex Ott heading towards that pack. They're side by side. It's Ben Lafter and Timothy Vaughn battling for 7th position. Alex is going to have to be real patient. He can't make his way around the outside of this corner. The GTOs will wash out. That's exactly what happens, and he takes to the inside. Plenty of room there for 3 wide. Able to do so, and now whipping his way around the outside. Is going to go off track to avoid Robert Plumley. Easily enough done. Cuts inside of Ian Haycox. Doesn't hold him off too much, and makes his way past Doug Cloud, and Alex Ott's through. Still 10.3 seconds ahead.
That is just textbook multi-class racing etiquette.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody there was aware of what Alex was doing. Alex was aware of what they were doing. He was totally in control of the car. He deliberately went wide there. Didn't get an off track, but he deliberately did that to make sure that he was able to hold his position, hold his line, and keep everybody safe. That, if you want to look at how to do multi-class racing, put that in a textbook and show people. That was brilliant from Alex. And now Timothy Reed, he's coming up to this lot. I don't think he's going to get past all of them before he gets there. So at the front of this GTO train, you've got Ian Haycock still trying to make this move around the outside of Doug Cloud. And I think, no, he hasn't again, not made it.
That was Cam Porter and Jamie Hamill-Smith that were side by side, and Timothy Reed able to make his way, sneak his way by. Heitor Sanchez Glendo got held up a tiny bit. Still within a second though, so Heitor still got the draft on Timothy Reed. Oh my goodness, but Heitor Sanchez Glendo pushed wide, and Timothy Reed through the thick part of the group here on this back stretch. He should be able to get most of them, but I think he'll be side by side with either Ian Haycox or Doug Cloud under braking, and it's gonna be Ian. But he holds off and he tucks in behind Ian Haycox. This is holding him up significantly, bringing Heitor Sanchez Glendo into play.
Yeah, Jamie Hamill-Smith unfortunately having a small tap with Cam Porter near the backfield. We just saw him off there, and Alexander Van der Sant having to navigate the traffic and also battle at Pepe Fuentes in front of him as the rest of the cars going through the train. And here it is, the train you see, followed by these cars. And I love this camera right on the wall here, and you get to see all the cars and all the navigation. Everything gets bunched up, everything gets expanded and compressed. This is the saying we say, traffic giveth, traffic taketh away. We go 3 wide into the 90, and Pepe continues to hold that P7.
Absolutely beautiful communication from all of these drivers. Everyone's taking the lines that they need to. Everyone's communicating clearly. That's Doug Cloud, who's stuck in the middle. He didn't communicate super clearly, got a little bit offline. He's going to lose some time. He's going to lose a position to Ian Haycox, I believe. But look at the GTPs trying to cut their way through. It's 3 wide as they get back onto the back straightaway.
3 wide, they get back onto the straightaway and they manage to get by it in front. You've got Aaron Humphrey getting past Alec Millwood. That is what Ian see. He's seeing a lot of cars coming by him, but he manages to keep it under control with Doug there. Not trying to make a move around the outside this time. They're through the worst of it at the moment. That's the thick of the GTPs as he continues to look for a position. He's unable to try and find anywhere to go. Just like some of these GTPs, that slipstream, that advantage they're getting on that straight, it's not big enough to warrant the idea of pulling out and trying to make a move.
Exactly, and you may have seen Ian Haycox try and duck his way, not take that move, and that's because they had almost just come into a disaster through the S's with Doug Cloud getting pushed into the middle of the track. So that means that he was just trying to make sure to back off, regather. It's way safer for him to make a move on Doug Cloud, but he's got all his wits about him. And when Doug's trying to recover from a previous incident that was almost a disaster, look at this, Millward sneaking his way around. He's got Jack Wells tucked in behind him, and Fabian Dugu's also trying to battle him. Jack Wells to the inside in turn 1.
Yeah, to the inside goes Jack Wells, and Millwood's going to hold this off, and I think that's wide. Give himself a better run here, going up the S's. His YouTube will probably see this, his streamers, viewers, will probably see this battle at the moment. He goes up the S's, he pulls out of that slipstream, pulls out again, very smart, he gets an overlap, but it's the outside. It will be the outside for the outer loop. He's going to have to take all the speed he can. He's got so much overspeed. Here comes Fabian Youngblood out of nowhere. He looked like he was making a move. Side by side goes Wells. Side by side goes Millwood. They don't collide. And Fabian, he wants a position as well.
Beautiful from Jack Wells. He took the racing line there, the outside line being a little bit more gray for Millward. He couldn't hang his way around the outside, didn't commit to it, and Youngblood and Millward fall behind Jack Wells. Wells able to hang on to that pass, able to get it done after going side by side for the 90. He holds onto his position, holds the inside, and able to complete that pass on Millward.
Yeah, Javier Del Olmo will get back to the GTOs because now he's getting a little bit of traffic himself. We did see earlier that traffic was hindering him as well, and he's lost quite a bit of time as he's now got Ove Trengerade right behind him. There he is, just in the camera view there, just going around. One thing I wanted to point out, I love pointing out here, that hill, all that runoff, it's not an off track. Some of these drivers will use that to their advantage. Most notably, these GTOs that you start to see there. There is the 27 of Ben Laughter still making his way up. 5 positions gained now. He's doing everything he can to just try and catch up to Timothy Vaughan.
Absolutely, he's tucked. He's the last car in this battle for the 3rd position, led by Doug Cloud. All of these GTOs have been inseparable today. 17 minutes left on the clock for these drivers, and it's realistically any of these drivers, any of these 5 drivers for that 3rd position, as that was, I believe that was Timothy Vaughn who goes wide. No, it's Robert Plumley who went wide. Theo Schleray ducking to the inside. Well, here we go. Jack Wells once again trying to hold off Alex Millward. Fabian Youngblood trying to make that pass, can't get it done.
Talk about it, it's the best seat in the cinema. It is the front seat, and that is what Youngblood's got at the moment. He's seen these two try to battle, and he almost wants them just to have another battle again. That gap is only 4 tenths between him and Millward, so maybe he's just waiting for his opportunity. And of course, without this bus stop here, it changes to the dynamics of this race as Plumley is in trouble. A little tap there, and the number 9 goes around, and Timothy Vaughan, I couldn't keep it out the wall.
No, just a little bit too deep on the brakes from Plumley. He tried to avoid making contact, but Timothy Vaughn making contact with that outside powder blue Armco. Here comes under braking. Plumley's trying to turn the car, but man, these GTOs, once you get under hard braking, they do not turn at all. So very tough stuff for Timothy Vaughn. I'm sure Plumley didn't intend for that to happen, but Vaughn now back in 8th position and way off the back of that train for 3rd.
Yeah, way off, and that is Marco Salgado right behind him. There is a little bit of damage on that car. It may affect his top speed. Alex Millward's got no effect to his top speed. In fact, he's got an overboost there as he was still battling on in that battle with Jack as well. Can they hold on? Look at it. They're actually, it feels like they're catching that car in front. It feels like they're catching Aaron Humphrey. And as I look at the lap times, they're not. They're actually matching, but it does feel like he's getting ever so close.
I would agree with that. I think that possibly the lap times are switching back and forth with these drivers, but Aaron Humphrey looking back at Jack Wells. That battle with Jack Wells, Millward, and Youngblood is definitely bringing them into fighting contention. 1.2 seconds back of Humphreys. So this is going to make things interesting for sure. And one of the things that's important to note, Craig, about the GTOs is if you get damage on any of the corners, that can effectively turn off or damage the 4-wheel drive on those Audis. And so that's part of what Timothy Vaughn has to be concerned about, is that when you lose that drive on that wheel, it makes turning in that direction extremely difficult because that inside tire is no longer pulling for you. So Ian Haycock's doing a good job, tucked him behind Doug Cloud. He's taken a couple lunges at Doug, but Doug's been very stout in his defense, and they've got about 1.2 seconds of playtime between themselves and Plumley behind.
Got a lot of playtime. Well, I just tell you what, you learn something new every day, and I'm glad I learned that. I'm sure I've been told it before. Plumley trying to catch up to these two, and if he does, that would bring, again, we're talking another 5 cars in this battle as you start to see Plumley, Laughter, and Theo Chalet, who, again, Theo's lost some time here. Maybe a little bit of damage is affecting him. Oh, yeah. You can see a lot of damage, actually. It's not little, it's a lot. Unfortunately, the side with the tricolour is the damaged side as he continues the battle. Now, in these technical sections, that car should be fine, Adam, but when they get onto this start-finish straight and then up the S's, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on here.
Well, he's got multiple issues. It's through the technical sections and the straights where Theo's damage is coming into play. Remember, he's got damage to both the front right and the front left, as well as a little bit of damage to the back. The damage to the back shouldn't be affecting his drive, but he's essentially in a two-wheel drive rear power machine, but he's carrying the extra weight and the extra mechanics of those front two four-wheel drive mechanics up front, and there he goes wide, makes more contact with the outside wall. That thing is not driving well right now.
I wonder if that was just a lapse of concentration, or he actually could not control that car. Be one to keep our eye on, just like this battle at the front of the GTOs. We've seen it many times before, and they continued this friendly, competitive rivalry. It's Javier Del Olmo, it's Ove Trengaray. They have 11 seconds ahead of behind them. They have got totally enough time to do this, but Ove Trengaray is going to have to try and overtake one of the trickiest drivers to overtaking Kamel. It's Javier Del Olmo.
Yeah, Del Olmo with 13 wins, and I believe that Ove Trengrade has a similar amount. Yeah, it's very close, but these drivers very familiar with being up at the front of the podium, and so Del Olmo more recently successful than Trengrade. Trengrade was successful about 4 or 5 seasons ago, so it's good to see Trengrade back up there battling for a win with Del Olmo. But remember, this was all off the back of Theo Schleret and Timothy Vaughn having trouble, so Del Olmo once again in a really good position to cement some more points for his championship. But if Ove Trengrade starts to make risky moves, he might have to let Trengrade go.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Maybe Javier uses Ove to his advantage. We see more cars going. That GTP top 10, by the way, is still the same. Everybody is plus. Oh no! Candelas into the back there. And that's not what we wanted to see. That is Candelas into the back. Was that Sintet Galindo he caught?
This was Xavier Sanchez, actually, that he made contact with, and Cam Porter was just turning into the final corner, unassuming, and that made contact. Let's take a look at this once again. Cam Porter, in that red and white and black machine, he's just racing his normal racing line. His GTPs are trying to cut their way through. Cam goes to the apex as he normally would with plenty of room to do so, and Xavier Sanchez is headed straight for that same piece of turf and runs into the back of Cam Porter. So I think Xavier was feeling the pressure and just made a little bit of a tactical error there.
Yeah, and he has actually retired the car. That small error. Again, that is one of the things we talked about before the race. It's those differences in speed into the corners catch a lot of drivers out. And unfortunately, that is the way. While that was going, Ove Trengaray did get past Javier Del Olmo there. So this is something interesting. I can't remember the last time we've seen Trengaray leading a race here on a broadcast split. But we can say with 10 minutes and 40 seconds to go, we do have Ove Trengaray leading. This is the move. I wouldn't be surprised if that GTP just caused a little bit of issues there.
That's true. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened, is that Javier Del Olmo just got held up a little bit, couldn't take his normal racing line, and the GTOs really need all of it to be as fast as possible down the straight, and Javier decided not to battle with Ove and give that position back to him. So
Youngler's gone. Sorry. We just had Fabian Youngler go at the same corner as Javier Sanchez in almost similar situation, having to slow down for a car, for a GTO, and getting hit from behind with a driver unaware of what's happening in front of him.
Yeah, this was Alex Millward who made contact with the back of Jungbluth as Jungbluth's trying to safely make it to the pits. And this is just a mixture of situations. This is Jungbluth being safe and tucking it behind the GTOs ahead, Millward taking it too aggressive, and then just the ever-vicious hitbox of the GTP. It drops down pretty aggressively from the back of that wing, and so even though you think you have clearance, you still might make contact.
We need to talk about what's happened in the GTOs. Ove Trengaray is out of the race. Ove Trengaray is out of the race after an incident at the S's. He is towed. He is in the pits. We have to see what has happened to him, but I believe here it is again. It is one of those moments going up the S's. Is that a GTP just contacting it?
Santos Galindo clips his left rear just barely. Oh boy, this is a nightmare for Ove Trengaray, leading the race, doing an excellent job, and just gets clipped here by Aitor Santos Galindo. Santos thought he had him cleared, and realistically may have, but man, that's a nightmare.
It's a split-second moment. That very last moment at the top of the S's, it's split-second. You've got to make the decision, if you're the faster car, which way you're going. But the problem is at the same time, if you're too late, that slower car has already made its decision, and you don't have enough time to make that reaction. It is a very tough and unfortunate moment there. We have now seen two leaders in the GTOs get crashed out at the S's. It is proving to be one of the trickiest parts of multi-class racing on sim racing.
Honestly, I think people are starting to get a little bit tired, make some mistakes when it comes to judgment calls here, and we're going to see it once again. That's Sebastian Samdow trying to cut his way through the GTOs, able to do so safely. But look at this Doug Cloud, who's now inherited second position, mind you, trying to hold off Ian Haycox, Robert Plumley, Ben Laffer, Theo Schleyer. They've got Lars Olsen and Martin Krajcik battling for 15th position, trying to cut through, go through the middle, 3 wide, and almost make contact there with Robert Plumley. Plumley able to hang it around the outside of Haycox, trying to duke it out with him.
Excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît. Bonjour. That's what they're doing at the moment. They're trying to get by, and the GTPs get by, and Plumley's got the inside here for Haycock. Side by side, they go battling, and this is fantastic from Haycock, but he has to yield. With 7.5 minutes to go, he has to yield that P3 to Robert Plumley. Can he even look for a move again behind? It's Ben Laughter. We didn't even think we'd talk about Ben Laughter in this position. 8 positions he's gained so far in this race. He's currently sitting in P5, and Theo Schleyer still behind them. Somehow, with that car, which probably doesn't have front-wheel drive, is still there in P6.
Yeah, Schler's got an immense race pace in a good, clean car. Trouble is he can't seem to get a good, clean car going for himself. Doug Cloud and Robert Plumley run deep as they exit the boot. Ian Haycox gets a little bit loose on the exit there. The tires starting to wear down for these GTOs. 7 minutes to go. Alex Ott just turned the fastest lap of the race, Craig. Still only 16.5 seconds clear of the GTP field. If he's really going all out, I mean, he might... another strategy you might be trying to do is he might have been trying to pull a gap and now fuel save, but is it too little too late?
I don't think it's too little too late. It all depends on what type of times he's doing. I've never seen a 26.1. That's going faster than what he was doing in races earlier this week. It could be interesting to see what he does. He doesn't go for the pits this time. We'll have to keep our eyes on. But that number, 27.4, is the average laps they should be doing under this pace. That is the same as what it was on the other races this week with Alex driving. So can he hold on to the 16-second lead? I don't think he's going to be able to. Jack Wells, he has done a lot of fuel saving as he's got Aaron Humphrey and Pepe Fuentes ahead of him as well. Pepe, another driver we've not talked about. Van der Stant's made up 16 places. Pepe 4, Humphrey 7, Wells 7. Everybody is moving on up today.
Doug Cloud's starting to get fairly aggressive here, Craig. He really blocked off Plumley. He's taking the inside line. Plumley! Unbelievable! He's whipping his way around the outside using grip I've never seen out of a GTO. Can't quite get the job done, but that was as close as I've seen a move on the toe of the boot in a GTO in a while.
He's still there though, side by side they go into the hill. He's still got side by side. A little tap, but they're going to keep it going. They're still side by side. This is the battle for P2. The inside belongs to Plumley, the outside for Doug Cloud. They're trying to use all the room. Plumley trying to give him all the space he can, and he stats that move up from around the outside of the toe. But we got to keep talking. Ian Haycox is there. He wanted to put his nose in there. He was looking at it. He is calm. He is cool. He is composed. He is looking at this right now. He is licking his lips, waiting. And here, right behind is Ben Laughter. He has got one of the best seats in the house right now.
Honestly, I think everyone right here is having the best day of their lives. Look at this move up the inside for Doug Cloud. Late on the brakes. He's going to get it done over Plumley. Plumley not with a great exit. They're going to be 5 cars deep now as they head up the S's. My goodness, what a battle we have going on here in the GTOs for second position. That was a little bit of a wall tap there from Robert Plumley, who got a little bit loose coming through the S's behind Doug Cloud. Ian Haycox with a good run. He's going to look to the outside, but they're going to go 3 wide. Ian gets cut off.
Ian gets cut off, so Plumley's going to try. No, he's not! No, he's not! Ian Haycox, you are kidding me! Straight through the middle, trying to hold on to this position. He does not get it, but he almost made one of the moves of the year. And he just holds on to this P3. Let's wait for Ben Laughter. He's there right behind Theo Schleyer. He's just waiting there. And is that Alex Ott right behind? It is.
Misshift from Ian Haycox puts him into the pack. They're now 3 wide as they go up the hill. This is Ben Laughter trying to hang on to it. That's Alex Ott, who lost a ton of time. He lost 6 seconds trying to cut through that pack. He's in big trouble now with the fuel. He's going to cut off Doug Cloud up ahead, and Ben Laughter takes it too deep into the corner, gets a little bit of a bump from Theo Schleret, able to hang on to it though. Ben Laughter, oh my goodness, these GTOs need to take a breather. Oh, it's close between Ian Haycox and Robert Plumley on the exit of the move.
No breathers, no breathers. 3.5 minutes to go. Everybody foot down on the throttle. GTOs don't need to fuel safe. They are just going absolutely hell-bent for leather. And Haycox has caught up to Clouds right away. You start to see it. These pack of 5, they're starting to bunch up once again. The lap traffic there that's out of Alex Ott has not hindered them. Timothy Reed is 4 seconds behind them. He'll come to them possibly at the end of this straight. So this is going to be make or break right now for Ian Haycox. They were going to have a bunch of laps left, yes. However, with lap traffic, GTP traffic coming up behind them, it looks to me that this could be the move that could decide to get on the podium.
Craig, what is it about the two of us getting in the booth that seems to instigate these drivers to make some crazy moves? Ian Haycox, I think he's going to run out of time here. Timothy Reed is going to have to make a gutsy move if he's going to try and get around these GTOs. He's going to do it around the outside of the carousel. Good job for him to cut his way through, so it's a pretty secure second for him if Alex Ott is able to hang on to the fuel here. But these GTOs really diving it deep into the corners. Doug Cloud, I think his tires are gone. Ian Haycox is struggling on corner exit. Robert Plumley still got a good car underneath it, but he can't seem to get any of the moves done.
Can't get any of the moves. The double toe is not helping him. The single toe is not helping him. The no toe is definitely not helping him, and he is trying his best. Laughter just behind there, still battling with Theo Shirley as well, but these 3 continue on with 2 minutes left. This is the time we'll keep our eyes on the pit wall for the GTP, because if anybody can't make it, this is the time we start to see some of those drivers coming into the pit. Wide goes Doug Cloud. He is trying to hold that car. Just hold on for 2 more minutes. He's begging that car with all of his might. Please just hold on. Plumley, again, look, here comes Jack Spickett. He's not in a battle with Youngblood. That other GTP is not a battle for him at the moment. This may help Plumley.
This is going to help somebody when they go into the braking. I think it's going to help Plumley. I think you're right, because Doug Cloud and Ian Haycox might have to brake a little bit harder. Plumley decides to try and not take a move. He's going to lock up the inside right tire as he tucks in behind Ian Haycox. Haycox has got to be good through the gears, and they're going to push each other. Oh my goodness! That was Doug Cloud getting pushed wide by Alexander Vanderson. Here's the opportunity Ian Haycox is looking for. He gets ushered wide towards the barrier. Plumley trying to hang on to it as well, and here comes Ben Laughter.
Here comes Ben Laughter. He's going to go. Hey, the animals go 2 by 2, and they're going to keep going. Plumley with a break, a bump draft from Laughter into Ian Haycox. That gives Haycox to move around the outside. No, he's cooked it. They're going to go 3 wide on the exit. Plumley takes them all. What a move by Robert Plumley. He capitalizes right when he needs it, and they're going to have 1 more lap after this, the GTOs.
Oh my goodness, side-by-side contact between Doug Cloud and Timothy Vaughn as Vaughn's trying to recover his race as Doug Cloud went from 2nd place all the way back to 6th right at this juncture, so he's all the way back there. Plumley has the best car. He might start running away from these guys. Alex Ott, he's gone on to the final lap. He thinks he can make it.
Thinks he can make it. A misshift from Ian Haycox there probably cost him. It didn't cost him a lot, because Ben will have to try and do this from the outside. He can't. Theo now, he's looking for this position. That's Theo trying to overtake Ben for P4. He cannot make that there. Let's just give you an idea. Plumley 2nd, Haycox 3rd, Laughter 4th, Shirley 5th, Doug Cloud is 6th. They are all together here. This is one of the best races out of I've missed Camel GT.
Oh, Camel's so good, and here they come, coming through the final corner. This is going on to the white flag lap. This time, we're over the 40-minute mark. The GTOs don't have to worry about fuel. None of the GTPs have come through the pits either. Everyone has figured out from that Wednesday race about the fuel saving. This is Doug Cloud looking to the inside of Theo Schleret. Theo's got the damaged car, so he's not really going to be able to battle for that position. Now, look at this. Plumley is gone. Theo Schleret makes contact with Doug Cloud, goes bouncing off of his right rear. That might hold up Doug. Theo and Doug are going to go side by side. Oh, Theo into the wall.
I don't think he realized Doug was there. Alex Dott has only got a few more corners left. You're not missing anything in that GTO battle. We'll get you there as fast as we can, because that is now Vaughn and Cloud side by side. Alex Dott is just a couple corners away. It has been quiet. It has been dominant. It has been exactly what you expect from Alex Dott. He's going to take the victory here in the GTPs. And meanwhile, you know those GTOs we've been looking at, they just got a massive whiff of traffic on the final lap. This is going to be chaotic.
Millward very loose. That's going to hold up Javier Mascara as Doug Cloud trying to figure out where to go. Here comes Millward up the inside of Ian Haycox. He's going to push Haycox wide. Javier Mascara takes away the apex as well. Millward trying to hang on to the cars. He's got rear side damage. This is going to hold up Haycox. Mascara with the good run. He's going to have good overspeed on Millward. Millward takes the inside. Javier Mascara tries to take it around the outside. Millward takes it too deep. Mascara, he might not actually have enough speed to get this done.
He won't have enough speed to get this done. Javier Del Olmo's going to cross the line. He's going to take the victory in this GTO field. What a fantastic drive that would be for Javier Del Olmo. I don't think Javier Mascaro's going to catch up to Alex Millward here. We'll wait and see. Is there anything left he can do? Is there anything left Ian Haycox can do here? Javier Mascara can't make this on the drag. But what's going to happen for the rest of the field? Well, hang on 1 second. Where is Ian Haycock? He has been taken out of the race. He's been hit. Plumley's going to get a P2. Ben Lafter's going to get a P3.
Absolutely. Ian Haycox got launched by Ben Lafter, who took a very opportunistic move in the second to last corner. Let's see it here. Ben Lafter is going to take the move, take an opportunity at Ian Haycox. Haycox tried to close the door too late. He got pushed out wide.
Yeah, just a little bit too wide there, but that is hard racing, and you've got to feel Ben saw the opportunity. He wanted to try and take that. He had to do everything he could. Was his opportunity. There was a door opening. It's just hard racing, and it's not what you want to see for Ian there at the end of the race. I think we definitely need to catch our breath here. So let's just give ourselves a quick break. We will be back with all the results, the interviews, the chaos. Do not go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This is Camel GT. You've just witnessed one of those classic moments in Camel GT, otherwise known as a fantastic race. So we're going to try and break down what happened here with the results, because Alex Zoff did win the race and he dominated. He was almost 15 seconds ahead at one point from Timothy Reed. And then Jack Spickett will take that P3. Another surprise there. Alexander van der Sant made 16 positions up to finish P4. He didn't qualify. That was one of the reasons. Pepe Huertas as well, making a P5. Jack Wells would be 6th, and Jason Clapper doesn't qualify, so that's why he gained 14 positions up into 7th. Alex Millward gets us 8th. Javier Mascara gets a 9th, and Laus Olsen will be 10th on the first page. The rest of the field, we didn't get a lot of time to see the rest of the field, but Sebastian Saindow will be 11th. Martin Krajcik will take 12th, and it will be Matthias Hadbau in 13th. Aaron Humphrey will take 14th and Brendan Lim 15th. Hamilton Ruiz will be the last driver on the lead lap in 16th, and then Fabian Youngblood in 17th, a lap down. Then it's the retirees. Aitor Sintes Galindo in 18th. Javier Sanchez will be 19th. Honduras Candelas will be 20th. We have one more page. Do not worry. week, if there's Wayne Castile, he finishes 21st. Adam, try and pick your way through that GTO.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit complicated. Javier Del Olmo comes home with the win after two other drivers who were in the lead of the race got wrecked out. We'll get to them shortly. Robert Plumley, after taking a very amazing and opportunistic move through the heel of the boot, comes home in second position. Ben Laughter comes home in third. Doug Cloud gets moved out of the way and makes some mistakes through the carousel and into the chute. Comes home in fourth position with Timothy Vaughn. A fantastic recovery drive after making contact with Theo Chalet earlier. Comes home in fifth position. Ian Haycox gets punted out of the way by Doug Cloud, or rather Ben Laughter. Comes home in sixth position with Sergey Grabin unbelievably taking a great seventh position. Zoltan Deme as well in eighth. Tim Kennedy battled it out with Pablo Rangel, hanging on to the ninth position with 10th going to Pablo. David Lehman comes home in 11th position with Vika Tupula in 12th. Jamie Hamill-Smith in 13th. And Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado in 14th. I believe Theo Chalet might have gone over the incident limit, which puts him down there in 15th position. Cam Porter down in 16th with Diego Ascensos in 17th. Obi Trencrate 18th position with Homicidas in 19th, and 20th is Michael Jenke. He wrecked out of the race.
Yeah, so that's the GTO. But let's just get back to the GTPs, because I got Alex Ott with me right now. And the first thing I want to talk about, Alex, is fuel. Because for anyone who's not aware, on Wednesday night, Alex was leading the race, realized he was short on fuel, came into the pits, and sorry to throw you under the bus here, Alex, went speeding in the pit lane. So I believe, Alex, you've got that under control today, but it did feel like that was a little bit of fuel saving needed.
Yeah, I kind of learned from my Wednesday race. So yeah, every corner just a little bit, and then I could save enough for almost one extra lap. In the end, I had a little battle with Tim for the fastest lap, but second to last lap I was fuel saving. And I wanted to try last lap, but then I hit some traffic, so the 26.0 was with fuel saving.
Yeah, I did see that time, and I thought, wow, that was pretty fast, especially with the fuel saving. Yeah. Now, this is a track that usually we see it with the inner loop, with the bus stop, and it's the straight here. How does that change the mentality of racing here when it's no longer an up the S's, stop for a chicane, and it's just all straight out here? How does that change your mentality?
You have to look behind a little bit more because some guys drive lower wing. When someone with lower wing should overtake me, the plan was to fuel save a bit more behind. But I had a good start and I had a good gap, so I didn't check my mirror after lap 1.
So we go for the hypes and sounds of Watkins Glen. Next week is going to be Road Atlanta, the hour-long race. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to make the Saturday race, but I know you'll be there on Wednesday if you can. What are you expecting from these fantastic beasts around Road Atlanta next week?
I actually never driven these cars there around before, so it will all be new for me. But I did some IMSA races and ESS races with the caddy. So I know the track, but I think with the Nissan it will be epic there, and the traffic will be horrendous.
Well, we will wait and see. As you are the winner, I'll always like to say this, Alex. The floor is yours for any shout-outs you would like to give.
Yeah, I would just want to thank the Camel GT community for being so awesome. We always have nice racing. Everyone is really clean most of the time, but really clean. And I also want to thank my Dutch league racing friends. Those are the guys who do Dutch leagues with. So also those guys, thank you for the awesome times on iRacing.
Well, thank you very much, Alex. That is Alex Ott, winner of today's race in the GTPs. Up next, we've got Ben Laughter with a fantastic race there. He is with Adam.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. I mean, I can hear you breathing deep. That has to be one of the most exciting and stressful battles for a top two that I've seen in a while. You coming home in third position behind Robert. Talk to me about the closing 10 minutes of that race.
The closing 40 minutes of that race. Every lap was intense, and then the Nissans just added a ton to it. But I mean, even amongst the 4, 5, 6 of us at any given moment, we were no holds barred. Like there was not a lot of give and take. There was take, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Watkins Glen creates close racing, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, like, there were some really impressive moves made, like, around the carousel, into the toe of the boot. I mean, talk to me about some of those gutsy moves. I think we saw you try and make a move around the outside of the toe of the boot at one point.
Sure.
Yeah. What is it about the mentality in Camel GT that where it seems like drivers just seem to go for every gap provided to them?
Well, everyone's so good, and so whenever you trust the guys around you, you're able to take bigger, riskier moves. Sometimes it doesn't work. Ian today, he threw it into the carousel 3 wide in the middle, no less, and somehow 5 cars made it work. That thing around the outside of the toe, it's just, look, the lane's open. This guy's getting balled up in there. I think I can use that extra asphalt and that's the heel, but whatever. I can use what's there and make it work. So it's just trust, and it doesn't always work. I tried to follow a GTP through with 2 corners to go there at the end, and ended up taking Ian out. I don't know how many positions I cost him, but I knocked him out of that 3rd spot. But I had to go for the move. So it was just great, intense fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And next week we head to Road Atlanta for a 60-minute race. We all know the downhill there tends to be pretty exciting when it comes to multiclass racing. What are your thoughts heading into next week?
Road Atlanta is fun. It's got a couple of characteristics similar where Camel's concerned here, right? There are certain spots where if you're a GTP, if you decide to make the move, you're killing everybody involved. And the S's are sort of that, once you cut back to the right, the S's are sort of that at Road Atlanta. And it'll be interesting to see, as always, how many people embrace that lesson and how many people don't, because that's where the attrition happens in those S's. But I love Road Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, and so that's like a track that I enjoy going to, spending time at, going to Petit Le Mans and whatnot. But fantastic track, really great flow, really good for these cars.
Well, Ben, congratulations on your P3. Anyone else who you want to thank before we let you go?
I want to thank that whole group that I was racing around, and a bunch of GTPs made some really smart decisions today. I think I saw some bad decisions too, but just the whole community today really, I think, made a lot of really good calls, at least near and around me. So thanks for that, everybody. And just a quick reminder to all the viewers out there, the Mick Claridge benefit race, races scheduled for the 12th and 13th are still very much on. There are some positions left, and we have already raised about $4,000 for Mick to get back on his ride. And so thank you. Congratulations to this community for being good humans. And I cannot wait to thrash some trucks around Laguna Seca with you guys. So anyway, please go register. All of the links are in all of the vintage discords, as well as the GSRC discord. And I appreciate everyone being involved.
That's where someone's cutting onions around here. So drop by the general channel and check out those links for the Mick Claridge specials next week. And Ben, thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That was Ben Laffer, who finished P2 in the GTOs, and Craig has caught up with Cam Porter, who finished in 15th today.
Yep, I've got Cam Porter here, and we didn't see a lot of Cam today, but unfortunately, it wasn't the race that we thought it was going to be today. You're shaking your head. Yeah, unfortunately, there was a moment out there on track that kind of ruined your fun out there.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed about my performance today. I punted poor Jamie pretty hard going into the toe of the boot. I was sort of distracted by the train of GTP cars that were coming through, and I think I was normally braking a little bit later than most people into that corner anyway. And, I was having a great battle with Jamie for many laps before that, making sure I wasn't, taking him out. But then it happened. So huge apologies to Jamie. And then later on, going into the outer loop, I was following Zoltan. And I was also braking later than a lot of guys in that corner as well, because I was staying on the right side of the track. On the left side, there's a big bump. And most people were staying on the left side, but I always went to the right side of the track so I wouldn't hit that bump, and I felt like it gave me better braking into the outer loop. Unfortunately, I didn't anticipate closing on Zoltan so quickly, and that was a bit of a bomb, so that's totally my fault. But then later on, Zoltan locked up his brakes and wanted to turn one, and that gave me enough incident points that I needed to drive through. So could have went better today, that's for sure.
Yeah, it could have gone better. It's one thing as well, I asked Alex about this, and you're a GGO driver, so I can ask you. The difference on the no chicane, no inner loop track, especially you guys, you've already talked about that bump there as we're seeing on the replay, how you're taking that line. How does that change the mentality at Watkins Glen, knowing that you're not having that quick braking and to do a little chicane, you're full throttle once you get up the S's?
I think I enjoy the classic boot better than the having the bus stop there, because I feel like the bus stop creates a lot of conflicts, especially if someone tries to pass me into the bus stop, I'll let them go. And same as I don't try to pass people into the bus stop either. I just try to stay safe through there. Usually if I'm racing the configuration with the bus stop, I prefer it without the bus stop. But like I said, I stay the right side of the track. I'm a little more comfortable without the bus stop, obviously. So kind of relieved when we do classic boot.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers are quite relieved to that. I must admit, I'm a fan of the bus stop. I'm sorry, I'm gonna ruin everybody here. I'm a fan of the bus stop. But next week we talk about long straights. Next week there's another long straight for you to capitalize on. It is Road Atlanta. How are you feeling about that? Because I think that's one of your, I think if I recall right, that's one of your favorite tracks or more preferred tracks.
Well, I keep saying this. I never met a road course I didn't like, but traditionally Road Atlanta is kind of a middle of the road track for me. I don't dislike it. Well, it's not that I dislike any tracks really, but it's in the middle. If I made a list of my favorites, it would probably be in the middle. But I do okay at Road Atlanta. Just hoping I can have some good mid-pack battles again like I did today. Yeah, we look forward to that. I look forward to actually seeing more of those group battles that you have been doing. Got to give a shout out to Ryan for just getting a nice little zoom in on your car there with Cammy's Garage all over it there. Just got to give a shout out. That's a very fun YouTube channel. Since you told me that, I have been checking it out. So thank you very much, Cam. We look forward to seeing you next week at Road Atlanta. Cam Porter, who had an unfortunate 16th place today. And we do have one more person left to bring in tonight. Adam is with Laus Olsen.
Yeah, Laus, not the race you were hoping for today. 10th position, still a top 10 for you, but talk to me about your race.
Yeah, I'm no good at these fuel-saving races. I cannot focus both on driving and fuel saving, and lost some positions in the beginning, and then the traffic, I got botched in between an Audi in the S's, and suddenly I don't know, the entire Nissan field went by. It felt that way at least. So that was quite a setback. Then around lap 15, I got my fuel numbers back in positive and stopped fuel saving. And then suddenly after 20 laps, I had a kilo or two in spare. So I don't know what happened. I'm not. Yeah. So, but at that time I was too far behind, and a spin out of the heel or the boot didn't help either. So, yeah, a lot of mistakes on my part, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it seems like, when I was racing this series as well, the momentum swings were fairly swift. They wouldn't happen that often in the race, but like when you started to get behind the car and behind the traffic, it seemed to be that way for the whole race, or vice versa. You feel like that was kind of what was happening to you today?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think I lost too much during the fuel save. Probably also saved too much. That was not. That was. I think the main reason I got so far behind. I was actually doing great progress, but then I got too eager and spun out of. I don't remember what corner, but and another setback. So it's. I think for me, it's just when I get behind, I try too hard and start over driving too much, and that's biting me.
Well, next week we head to Road Atlanta, which is 60 minutes, so possibly time for more fuel saving, or possibly time to run it out more. What's your strategy going to be heading into next week?
If it's not possible to fuel save and spare the pit stop, then I will go full speed, I think, and just take the fuel necessary. I lose more trying to fuel save than I can save by taking a few kilos less in the pit stop, I think. So I'm probably going to be full send.
Well, that was Laus Olsen, who came home in 10th position. Laus, thanks for talking to us today.
You're welcome. See you.
Laus Olsen finishing in 10th position. Back to you, Craig.
Thank you very much, Adam. That is going to do it today, and I need myself a drink to clear my throat. What a race this has been today. So thank you to Adam, to Ryan, and to Dougie. And make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store, and also our Discord so you can get more information on that fantastic charity event happening next week. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Next week for the Camel, it is the hour-long Road Atlanta race. That is going to be August the 12th, 1 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, there are other broadcasts here on this list, so do please check them out. But until next time, when I've had a drink and cleared my throat, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.
Bye.